Okay, let us continue from the point, please. So here I give you example of William Wordsworth, that he was of the view that it had been better for him to be a pagan than to be a Christian. Why? Because pagans, in one way or view, worshipped Almighty Allah. Worshipped Almighty Allah because they could see Almighty Allah behind all the natural objects. So here, Hegel supports, he is in favor of Middle Age, and seems it seems that uh, he supports the Middle Age and ancient cultures of India and etc. In order to means encourage the modern man to take the great benefit of work of art. Okay. Now here, let us move forward to the theoretical type of thing. This approach concerns purely theoretical reflection. It mean it means that reflections on the beautiful and producing only something universal, irrelevant to the work of art in its peculiarity. In short, an abstract philosophy of the beautiful. So here we have reflections of beauty in the work of art. Like Plato, it tries to understand beauty itself in its essence. So Plato also tried his level best to enjoy beauty and also understand it. Not only the outlook appearance of beauty, but its essence or its essence. This can only be done through conceptual thinking, whereby the idea enters conscious reflection. But this can turn into abstract metaphysics at the expense of concrete. The Platonic idea no longer satisfied the richer philosophers' needs of our spirit today. So Hegel is of the view that as far as the ideas of Plato were concerned, then they are not in a position to satisfy today's philosopher who is trying to understand the spirit. Okay? And Plato's philosophy was certainly based on idea and metaphysics. Now, what are the views of Hegel regarding the same? For Hegel, neither approach is satisfactory. The empirical is too limited and can't grasp the truth of art. Theoretical is concerned only with the universality and is too abstract. He proposes we must reconcile both extremes. It means that uh, uh, here in this modern age, we should take great benefit of both of them, empirical as well as theoretical. So, in the text, what is mentioned, the philosophical concept of the beautiful to indicate its true nature, at least in a preliminary way, must contain reconciled within itself. So both the extremes, both the extremes which have been mentioned, because it unites metaphysical universality with precision of real particularity. Only so is only so is it grasped absolutely in its truth. It means that while utilizing both the ends, but both the ends we mean that empirical as well as theoretical, we can reach the absolute truth. This is how to grasp the totality of works of art, fine arts. Fine art. It means that how we can means fully understand the work of art. So he puts forward the concept of beauty of art. Hegel says that to treat philosophy of art scientifically, we need to establish the concept of artistic beauty. Okay, we can't just assume it. We need to consider whether there is such a thing. Number one, and number two, what it is. Either there is any type of philosophy over here. If there is, then what is it? For the first, we need to prove its necessity. It means that we should prove at least that either is it necessary for us or not. And this proof would also answer the second one. Second one is what it is. Okay? What it is means that we want to understand it. We want to understand the truth. We want to understand the beauty. We want to understand the beauty of art. To prove the necessity of artistic beauty, we would have to prove an antecedent that led necessarily to the concept of the fine art. It means that we will have to move forward to the concept, that where from the concept was taken of the fine art. But Hegel wants to discuss art itself and thinks this presupposition lies outside that topic. So he will proceed as if it has been demonstrated. Philosophy is a one organic totality. So to understand artistic beauty, we would have to expound an entire system of philosophy. It means that in order to understand the totality, or in order to understand the beauty, we will have to understand the philosophy first. And the philosophy, to drive the idea of the beautiful form, its presuppositions would acquire an entire encyclopedia. Encyclopedia means that we will have to go through all the process and in detail, and in the most comprehensive way in order to understand uh, the philosophy of beauty. So we do not yet have a scientific concept of the beautiful. What we currently know of artistic beauty is. It means that science will certainly not helps us out to understand the beauty, but it is artistic expression which help us out in order to understand the beauty. Salita disturbed us. So I don't know that why she did that. Anyway, let us move forward. Only elements and aspects of it as they occur already in different ideas of the beautiful and art held by ordinary people or have formerly been accepted by them. It means that common people simply pay attention towards the different aspects of beauty. Okay? And as they occur to them or as they come into their experience. Common ideas of art. To get a general idea of his subject, Hegel considers these elements and aspects through three common ideas of art. So these are the three common ideas which have been put forward by Hegel. It is product of human activity, not nature. We will have to understand that art is the productivity of human beings. Number two, it is meant to be apprehended by our senses and is thus drawn from the sensuous sphere. It and it means that means our senses have apprehended all those things, all those sceneries, and with the help of our senses. So, sorry, or whatever knowledge or whatever background knowledge or whatever the power of our senses is, we always apprehend means art with the in the light of those ideas, whatever we possess. Sensuous sphere. Sensuous sphere means that whatever is under uh, means the experience of our senses. It has an end and aim in itself. So it possesses it possesses its limitations and its aim in itself. Now see that it is up to the man when he experiences such type of work of art, then he or she looks at it in the light of his own knowledge. Okay, so for example, we have so many examples. For example, there are two main groups of people. One of them is running behind the material advancement, and the other is sitting, means somewhere, and they have nothing to do all these needs of life and etc. They are continuously thinking about the aim of life, and they are also thinking that how to get the pleasure of their Lord. So they have dedicated their lives for the sake of pleasure of Almighty Allah, or to come close to Him. So they always try their level best to understand the purpose of life in the world. So they always consult with greatest philosophers or mystics and the greatest writers, educated persons, and they go through their writings in order to have the means true or the real avenue to reach over there. Okay, so now see that we always look at the thing, especially in the light of our priorities, that what we want to means get from it. So every art work or every work of art certainly has its end and aim in itself. Now we are over here to find out the real aim, which are the real purpose which the artist has put into it or mentioned into it. Art as a product of human activity. Certainly, art is a productivity of human being. The first classical view Hegel expounds is that we can teach each other the rules for making and imitating art. But this aspect, he says, is merely external and mechanical, an empty exercise of will and dexterity. We cannot provide such rules for the spiritual content. It means that, for example, work of art is learned over here in the world, and people are here to guide you or to find and to remove those mistakes and errors from your work, and they may guide you in the proper way, and they also tell you that how to follow certain type of rules and regulations in order to have the thing quite perfect. So all these things are called rules, and they are merely mechanical rules. We cannot provide such rules for the spiritual content. So as far as the spiritual content is concerned, as far as the spirit is concerned, then we don't have any type of rules and regulations to achieve that. Artistic production is not a formal activity in accordance with given specification. Okay, on the contrary, as a spiritual activity, It is bound to work from its own resources and bring before the mind's eye a quite other and richer content and more comprehensive individual creations. Right? Hegel observes that this view has been superseded by popular romantic view that art is the work of gifted genius who must not reflect consciously on his or her productive activity. He insists that this element needs what art or what are the needs of art. Reflection on the mode of its productivity and practice and skill in producing. So now see that reflection means thinking. Thinking means imagination. Imagination means you must have imaginative powers. Okay, in order to produce the work of art. And two things again are most important. One is practice, other is skill. In order to produce it, far apart from anything else, the main feature of artistic production is external workmanship. Since the work of art has a purely technical side, it means that apart from these things which have been mentioned, imagination, for example, skill, practice, and etc., certain external type of things are essential to be learned. Here, Hegel concurs with Kant's view of fine art and genius. We need both inspiration and technique. Technique requires reflection, industry, and practice. Industry means that working hard. Industry means efforts. Industry means a lot of hard work on your part. He then considers the human art product in relation to nature. Okay, so, and this is the most important point over here. The important point is that human product in relation to nature. It means that the production of man or the production of art must correlate with nature. It must not be means away from nature. The work of art stands higher than any natural product because it contains spiritual value, and everything spiritual is better than any product of nature. It means that there must be spiritual value in the thing. And then when you mention all these things in the work of art, then certainly it will appeal to common people, number one. And number two, it will be of the highest value. How it can appeal to common men? No, see, basically we possess spirit, okay, and in our subconscious, it is means kept that we uh, must return from where we have come. So in one way or other, we remember or we realize the spiritual things. And when we look at the work of art, it appeals to our emotions on the one hand, and then it also inculcates our knowledge or the basic knowledge that is in the subconscious of man. A further common idea asserts that nature and its products are the works of God, whereas art is merely infinite and human. So certainly, uh, the real production of work over here is of Almighty Allah, and the work of art is infinite, and work of art is also a production of human beings. Hegel retorts that God does not limit his activity to nature alone, but also work through human beings. Okay, so it means that Almighty Allah has not limited his work simply to nature, but Almighty Allah wants man to work more and more in order to disclose the secrets of nature. As I earlier mentioned, And that Almighty Allah is Musawwir. Musawwir. He is the greatest artist himself. But here, in the views of Hegel, Almighty Allah also means, uh, Almighty Allah created the huge work of art. As far as the little things are concerned, then Almighty Allah certainly wants people to create them. God is more honored by what the Spirit makes than by the production and the formations of nature. Almighty Allah is the greatest one who created Spirit. Who created Spirit? Who, in other words, we can say that who infused the soul into human body, as it has been mentioned in the glorious Quran, that when Almighty Allah created Adam, and when Almighty Allah made the body of Adam, and then afterwards at the completion of the body, Almighty Allah infused his own soul into the body of Adam. As a result, he stood up. Whereas nature is not conscious. Humans create as a conscious and actively self-productive medium for a spirit, which is more appropriate to God. Here, human being certainly creates the things over here, and with the help of a spirit, and that spirit is simply a medium between man and Almighty Allah. The work of art is made by man as the creation of his spirit. Why? Because without a spirit, man is nothing, and all those ideas that may come uh, means into the spirit of man, and then he simply, with the help of his hands and with the help of other tools, he gives them shape only. As a result, we have uh, work of art in a certain form. What is human beings? What does human beings need for art? We might say art is, art is merely play or fancy. So what do we need for art? So we so art has been considered over here just like a play or fancy idea. There are better ways of achieving art's aim. So there are certain so many ways in order to achieve the aim and objective of art. On the other hand, however, art seems to proceed from a higher impulse and to satisfy higher needs. So certainly this is the work of the highest level, and this is the higher impulse. Impulse means urge. For what? To satisfy the needs. We have different type of urges, and we satisfy with them a different type of needs. For example, urge of thirst, we use water. Urge of natural urge means hunger. We take food. At times, the highest and absolute needs, since it is bound up with the most universal views of life and the religious interests of all epochs and people, then certainly there were times, and during those times, the highest and absolute needs there were certainly felt, and those needs were universal, and those needs were views of the means universal views of life and religious interests for the rest of the human beings in the world. So here it is further explained, we have universal and absolute need for art because we are thinking self-aware consciousness that puts ourselves before ourselves, acquiring consciousness of ourselves into two ways. Why do we feel the urgent need of all these things? Why do we feel need of art? Because of our thinking faculty, because we are self-aware, and we are very much conscious when consciousness of ourselves is awakened, then certainly we feel need of it to produce any work of art. And we acquire consciousness of ourselves through the following ways. And these ways are theoretically and practical. Theoretically, must see himself, represent himself to himself, fix before himself what thinking finds as his essence, and recognize himself alone alike in what is summoned out of himself. Okay, theoretically means that we have learned from different theories which have been put forward by ancient writers are the people are the writer are the authors of the highest caliber, that what we are, how to see ourselves, how to represent myself, and how I may think in order to find the essence of life, how I may be able to recognize myself, and what is the inner voice which always awakens me to think about myself, that who am I, why I am here, what are my duties, what is the aim of life. So these things we have received through different type of theories. Either these are philosophical theories or these are religious theories. Practical. He says that he has the impulse to alter external nature and impress his inner being on it. So there's a natural urge inside means in the inward of man. For what? How to change, how to bring positive change, and how we can satisfy our inner self, how to produce himself and recognize in his objectives, how we can produce the things in order to satisfy ourselves. We even do this to our own bodies. For example, in even dressing up. Have you ever considered that how how do we are how do we are selective even, or how are we selective even in choosing dresses? For example, until and unless we are not satisfied with the particular dress which we want to put on, then we don't put on the same dress until and unless we are satisfied. Anyway, so time is running up, so that's why I'm stopping the point at this means moment, and we will certainly continue the same. So let us see that what time is it, and we will continue the same. So these are the views of Hegel, and I'm sure that as far as the work of fine art is concerned, as far as the other theories and philosophies are concerned, as far as the other examples are concerned, you might have understood the same, or you might have got the message, right? So we are over here in order to understand the most philosophical topics over here, which have been put forward by Hegel, and he is a staunch follower of Kant. Anyway, so let us stop over here, and time is running out.